5 stages you're going to go through when you take this invisible journey. Okay. And the reason I want to express the stages is because the more you understand the stages, the more perspective you can have as you're gaining nuggets of wisdom. Applying nuggets of wisdom from stage 5 to stage 1 may not work so well, or from stage 2 to stage 4 may not work so well. So let's talk about the different stages. Stage 1, exploration, trying to figure out what you want to do with your life, right? All of us have gone through exploration period. In fact, you could argue that at different points in our life, it's not just when we're right out of high school or right out of college, etc. You may in later life have an exploration stage again, but the exploration stage is that time, particularly, right, when you are early in your career, you're trying to figure out what you want to do with your life, etc. And one of the tips to think about there is internships are usually the go-to, right? Most folks think, okay, if I want to dabble in something, figure out if this is the thing for me, I must get an internship. Well, the other part that you should consider if you're in that stage is volunteerism. Volunteering with folks who can do the same for you, right? Show you how it's been done, how you can do it, learn best practices, come out of the laboratory of your mind and put your feet on the ground doing some work. Volunteerism is a strong way to do it as well. The second stage is what's called establishment. This includes searching for and landing your first gig. Okay. Learning and listen, when you go from cold to landing a gig, depending on the type of environment, there are all kinds of things that you have to learn. Not only the technical aspects of your job, whatever it is, moving things down the quote unquote conveyor belt, but how about learning how to deal with coworkers? How about learning how to be prompt to work? How about learning, yeah, I used to just hang out at lunch and no, you've got a designated lunch time. How about learning to make it through the full day? Even if you get a little tired in the afternoon, you need to make it through the day. How about learning how to navigate through an organization, not just your immediate coworkers, but those other people in those other departments that you depend on to a certain degree to get things done, and they depend on you. And what does that look like? So a tip on that one, find a mentor early that you can ask for advice as you're navigating company and career. Find a mentor. Mentors are invaluable. Someone inside the company that can help you understand how it works. And let me be clear, and this is not a shot, this is just it. There are always the official policies and such, and then there's culture, how things actually work and get done. So when you start at a new gig, the HR folks are going to tell you, hey, this is what our company's about. All the official things with the branding and logos on it, and you're going to read through it at night before you start the job, and excited. And then you get there and things may work a little differently, not necessarily in a bad way. It's just different than maybe what you expected based on the information you have been given to that time. So again, pro tip, get a mentor. Okay. Get feedback from this person in terms of what's happening and then keep them with you right along your journey so you can get feedback on your growth and development. All right. Stage 3, mid-career. Mid-career is like make or break time. Mid-career is you're not old, you're not long in the tooth, but there's some, you're midway through it. You spend some time in this. You're not a newbie anymore. You know the language. You know how things flow. You know the formal and the informal networks. Underscore formal and the informal networks. Both are equally important. And you've been in position for a time, and this is a place where either you're going to have success or you could fall into mediocrity. Well, as you know, mediocrity is not going to be helpful. So, right, you need to work on your success. And so the pro tip here is whatever you do, don't wait until you've plateaued to check your work satisfaction level. Make it a practice to consciously check on your satisfaction. Good time to do it. Mid-year review, end-of-year review, check in. How are you feeling? How are you doing? Are you still excited? I went through a phase in my career once, I'll never forget, where I could get to work and not even remember the drive at all. um I had gotten so used to it, like I could walk through my day and quote unquote I don't want to say I didn't think about it, but yeah, it was plateauing. It had gotten normal. It had gotten repetitive. I don't want to say redundant, repetitive, right? And for me, I thrive on a um inclining learning curve. And so maybe at the time I didn't know how to go learn more in the position I was in. I certainly don't have a problem finding learning opportunities now. But at that time, for me, it was wow. I am plateauing. And it took me a minute to realize it. And then once I did, I was able to make an adjustment. So that's a tip. Don't wait until you've plateaued. And for certain, don't wait until you've plateaued to a point where your supervisor or manager hasn't talked to you about it. That is not a good place to be. Okay. So mid-year, mid-career, make or break. Stage 4, later career. This is a sweet spot. You no longer have anything to prove. This is a great place to be. You come in, you go, you put points up on the board. It's like the what you call it, unconscious competence, right? Unconscious competence. I've talked about the competence, the quadrants of competence before, but like conscious competence, you have to really, really focus and work on it to get it done. Conscious incompetence, well, you're just not getting it done. Unconscious incompetence is horrible. You don't even know you're not getting it done. But unconscious competence, where it's like the game slows down. We've all heard that phrase before. Like the game has slowed down for that person. It's like everyone else is moving at 20 miles an hour. It's like when you pitch the ball to him, it's coming at 1 mile per hour and he hits a home run every time. That's you, later career. And so, pro tip, never too early to plan for retirement. If you reach that point where you're comfortable in what you've accomplished, what you have achieved, you can walk through the role, you've been getting your finances in order, start planning for, and I personally am not a fan of the word retirement. I believe we transition to more of our life's work, right? Until you hit the ground, at least for me, I think you're doing something. You're spending your time doing something that you feel like you're making a contribution at. You feel like you're making a difference. So I'm going to say that. But that's what I mean by retirement. Okay. Stage 5, decline. This stage means retirement for folks that have put in a decade or two at the job or an industry, right? It's time to spend more time with the family. It's time to do more of what I just said. Work that may be more passion and purpose oriented, where you give a contribution, you're doing things you love to do, etc. And yeah, you are with intent on a decline. You're saying no more 40 hours of work for me. I'm probably 30 at best. I may even cut the part time. I'll do a little something here. I'm going to come be a mentor to the executive team, leadership team, or people in these different roles, so on and so forth. But you are with purpose, with focus, taking less time to do quote unquote work and starting to shift in more of the things you be like, hey, I've been wanting to travel. We've been wanting to travel for years. We're going to travel, my wife and I, every 6 weeks. And you negotiate a deal with your employer that, yeah, you've got a certain amount of vacation and a certain amount may be unpaid, but you start to make those changes and shifts. Okay, so those are the 5 stages. Let me recap. Stage 1, exploration, trying to figure out what you want to do. Stage 2, establishment. This includes searching for and landing your first gig, learning how to deal with coworkers, etc. Stage 3, mid-career, make or break it time. Stage 4, late career. You're in the sweet spot. You walk through it. You know what to do. The game has slowed down for you. Stage 5, decline. So a few things I want to say about these. One, understanding that these stages, by the way, can be different for different demographics, right? For example, studies have shown that for millennials, okay, average time in a job is 2.75 years. So they may not go through the stages at the same pace as some previous generations, right? One of the things I love about millennials is they are more passion, purpose oriented earlier in terms of trying to find something that they feel good doing that is making a contribution to the things they have a belief in, the things they're passionate about. All right. So understand these as I wrap up. The stages of you, these 5 stages, apply them to your life. Apply them to how you're thinking about your career. Apply them to how you learn and gain perspective. Again, if you're really in stage 5 or stage 4 and you're walking through it, the game is slowed down, you're enjoying it, you're contributing at an unconscious competence level, looking at someone who's in stage 2 and watching how they swing the bat with ferociousness, okay, is not helpful. Like there's not much you can gain for that. And in fact, being upset, and this is where, comparison is a thief of joy. You should be joyous about where you're at in your stage and not worried about, man, they seem like they're eating up every project opportunity that comes in the department. They are. They are on the incline. They're trying to get a position. They're trying to get the respect and admiration that you've achieved. And so be happy for them, acknowledge that, etc. But don't compare it. You're in different stages. Let your joy be your joy. And yeah, don't let comparison be the thief of joy. Over the next few weeks and months, I'm going to go into depth of each stage. Let me say thank you to Cherie for bringing this up. This idea of, man, I'm ready to transition a little bit, to decline, because it made me think about, yes, you are absolutely correct. Let me cover the stages in context. So with that, let's go back to some music, y'all. We'll be back in a bit.